Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Elite Dangerous Horizons. I'm here to take a look at one of the new cities, one of the settlements that we can find on Mercury. This is Erlich City and it's pretty darn impressive, I've got to tell you that. As soon as I got here I wanted to do a fly through of the city. So I come into here and wondered how low I could actually go. Turns out you can get as low as you want without any sort of authority warnings. Now I don't know what happens if you attempt to land in the city. I assume you wouldn't be able to do that. It's something I didn't think of trying at the time. This bridgeway here, I really wanted to fly underneath it, but at the last minute I kind of pulled out. The cities actually feel pretty large, or settlements rather, as that's what they're being referred to. David Braben has said that there's some larger city areas to come later on down the line in Season 2. So there are some landing pads here at the cities. We're just going to fly over the top of one here. The larger ships have an access way to get in to make it a little bit easier for them on their approach, and to the left you can see some great big weapons. That's the defence turrets for the city. Now I'll get to landing on one of those pads a little later on, but first I wanted to land out here and have a bit of a look around in the SRV. There's some drones out here. I believe that one is a Goliath. It's one of the larger ones. There's also a few other things out here. I found what looked to be some sort of mining equipment or energy supply units. Taking a look at them, there seems to be some silos here, and the other things seem to be attached to cargo canisters. Be interesting to see if we can interact with them at some point. So after driving around for a while, I eventually found the entranceway to the city. It doesn't seem to be marked out in any ways. You just have to keep driving around the outside of the city until you eventually find it. Then again, it could well be marked, and it may be a case that I missed it. I do sometimes tend to do those sort of things. The scale of these places is something that hit me the instant I drove through here. The domes themselves are pretty large. Each one of those lights is obviously a window, so they're multiple stories high, let alone the tallest of the buildings here, which I'd say probably rival some of the skyscrapers we have in our cities nowadays. Just look at the height and the size of those things. As you can see, the ground out here is still unmade, at least most of it is. There are some roadways in here, and there are some other areas that are made up. This road circumnavigates most of the city, not the entirety of it, but quite a lot of it. I can't show you the whole lot, as it takes a good age to get right the way around. So after that brief stint inside the city, it was time to go back and get my ship, and then come and try and land on one of these pads out here. I find the approach quite odd here, largely due to the fact there's a big lip on the wall and it prevents you from easily getting access to the pad. The larger ships don't have to worry about that. As we saw early on in the videos, there's a big gap right in front of the large pads. So Frontier have essentially used the same assets here as what we have on the outposts and inside the stations, but they've put them together in a different location up high here on the edge of the city walls, and we get a very different view to what we've been used to so far. Now my intent was to show you this entire process in one single piece, from flying over the city to landing on the pad to getting down into the hangar and eventually getting into the SRV, but at this moment I got kicked off the server, which is why there's that strange little cut there. I loaded it back in to find myself inside the hangar. But once you're in there you can deploy your SRV and you find yourself in this little garage type area. Now I don't know precisely what there is to do in these settlements. I've had a good look around and haven't been able to find anything. Spent probably in total around about an hour here just driving around, having a look and checking the whole area out. So for the moment at least, the place doesn't really have any life. There's no other buggies here, there's no drones inside here, so the place is pretty much empty. Now this had me confused for a good while. I couldn't work out how to get my SRV back into the ship, and what you've got to do is request a docking permission. If you don't do that, you simply won't be able to get back into your ship. You'll then get the little guide on your scanner there telling you which hangar to head towards. I've got to go back to hangar 8 because obviously I haven't been far enough away for my ship to be dismissed or despawned. And once you're back in the garage again, so long as you have requested docking permission, you'll have the ability to transfer your SRV back to your ship again in the regular way. So as I was saying, these settlements are pretty much empty, but they do have all the regular Starport services here. And at the very least, they're a safe place to store your ship if you don't fancy dismissing it when you're out there on the planetary surface. And from my understanding, you can still recall your ship if you're out on the planet and you've left your ship behind at a settlement. If you recall it, it will still come and pick you up. So then, that's a quick look at one of the settlements here, and although there's not a lot to do aside from the regular Starport services, they are some areas that are a very nice addition to the game, and will only get a lot better if, hopefully, and when Frontier decide to add some life to these places. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. There are many places in the galaxy that I wanted to visit, but one of the first places was the Pleiades Nebula. This system is Maia, and this planet is the one that the new space station Obsidian Orbital orbits. And here I am in the middle of some combat with one of the new minor factions, the Anthill Mob. Now, ever since Horizons was announced, one of the things that I was most curious about was what it would look like in a nebula from the surface of a planet, and we're going to find that out shortly.